5, Lord Moylan.
My Lords, if I may briefly speak in response to what the noble Lord the Minister said, he is asking us to make a huge bet on what he refers to as the benefits of public ownership. Now, most of us who are of a certain age can remember public ownership, and we can remember that the benefits were few and far between. He is asking us to take a leap of faith that this time round it is going to be different. But he will not.
He's spoken as if public ownership is something evil. I remember when I worked on the West Coast Main Line, the trains were 90% right time. That is a far cry from what is now the case, and it's so different from what he is saying that he really should take a history lesson in what was right about British Rail.
Well, my Lords, I made no reference to evil, good or evil. I'm talking about operational efficiency, and the noble Lord, I'm sure, is correct in drawing attention, as has happened several times today, to the deficiencies of the current operation of the West Coast Main Line. But other noble lords have rightly drawn attention to the fact that there are private sector operators currently operating with efficiency levels that he refers to and better in this country. So the private sector has a lot to be said for it as well. But the fact of the matter is that public ownership is something which the country largely breathed a sigh of relief when we moved away from it, rightly or wrongly, whatever the history behind that might have been. And in every other European country over the last few years, they have moved away from exclusive public ownership operation, and even train companies like Deutsche Bahn, which stood once at the pinnacle of public regard, are now something of a joke in their own country. I am only trying to move an amendment. It isn't meant to be a
introduction that's the problem. Isn't it the case that the public support public ownership of the railways, and isn't it the case that the public sector had to take over the East Coast line because the private company failed to deliver service?
Yeah. My Lords, the noble Lord brings me to exactly my point. The benefits of public ownership, the ones that the noble Lord was able to refer to, were first of all that it's popular, and secondly, that was in the manifesto. Those two things might be absolutely true, but they are not quantifiable passenger benefits. They are not passenger benefits at all. They are political facts that sit there in the background, popularity and otherwise. And the fact is, of course, the system has broken down. I've acknowledged the system has broken down, especially since COVID. I've acknowledged the need for reform. What this amendment seeks to do is to allow a degree of variability, non-uniformity, difference of practice, choice, options to the government, rather than having a single, purely nationalised, purely state-controlled machine, which we are told is going to bring us benefits, and we are told, as far as I can make out, that one of them is going to be flexibility. And I really didn't discern any others, except the fact that you won't be paying fees to private sector operators, a point the noble Lord the Minister has made several times. And you won't be paying fees, but the fees in the picture of the cost of running the railways are extremely small. They are a tiny percentage of what's involved. And if the private sector can continue post-COVID to generate the sort of growth in passenger numbers which it was generating before COVID, since privatisation, if we could get back to those happy days, then the amount of money being paid to them would be swamped by the revenues that would be coming in. That is the bar that public ownership has to match, and we have no guarantees that it is going to do so. We are asked to take the whole thing on trust. And to that extent, I do wish to move my amendment number 5 and to test the opinion of the House on it.